Welcome to another Ask Katrina. The question for today is, hey Katrina, I am so ready to live my life. I'm tired of sacrificing. How do I start living the life of my dreams? That's a great question. It's an interesting question. It's a question that not a lot of us will be courageous enough to ask. We'll ask that question to ourselves in the middle of the night. We'll ask ourselves that question while we're crying in the shower because we feel like life is so hard. We'll ask it here, but we won't ask it out loud. And so the fact that you were courageous enough to ask that question, I praise you. I celebrate you for that. Awesome job. Well, the answer is this. Let's go back to what we teach fundamentally here at Legend Leaders. The answer has to do with the 4 Ps. Okay. Now, if you listened to the Legendary Leaders podcast, let me say that again because I'm talking really fast. If you listened to the Legendary Leaders podcast in the month of January, then we talked about phase 1 of the 4 Ps. And then if you listen to it again in the month of February, we talked about phase 2 of the 4 Ps. So you may already be familiar with our 4 Ps. If you're not, let me walk you through it at a high level. And then I would encourage you to go listen to those podcasts and take your knowledge up a notch, okay? The 4 Ps are essentially the path that we follow as executive women when we go from a manager or director, a non-executive, into the executive ranks. It has a lot to do with our motivation in putting us in the executive ranks and why it matters so much that we succeed there, okay? So that's the intro. That's the background for why the 4 Ps matter and what they exist to represent. The first P in the 4 Ps is promotion. Women spend on average 9.8 years getting promoted over and over and over again until they finally reach the executive seat, okay? The executive seat they've been striving for, 9.8 years. So let's just say 10 years. In that period of time, we've been focused on one thing. We've been focused on promotion. Promotion, promotion, promotion. Why? Because we've set our sights on that executive seat that we're dying to get into, and we're doing everything that we can to get there. We're sacrificing, we're doing all the things, and we're telling ourselves, as soon as we get to that executive seat, we're going to have the life we want to have, okay? That's why we're striving to get there. Now, are there some other factors? Of course, but that's typically one of the primary motivators. We move from that first P, promotion, into the next P, P number 2, which is preparation. Preparation represents the phase where we are learning how to exec correctly. We're building and creating our high performance executive brand. Now, that preparation phase can happen at the very end of our non-executive role, where we're preparing to be the executive we intend to be. It can also happen in the very first year of sitting in that new executive seat, where we're creating that executive brand. The most common way that we prepare, where that falls in our career, is typically once we reach that executive seat, okay? But we must prepare effectively. We can't just jump in and do it. We know this, okay? So it goes promotion to preparation. The third P is performance. I can't perform until I prepare because I don't know how to perform. I've got no clue. But once I create my executive brand, now I'm performing. Now I'm getting the results that I expect to get within the business, which as a result of getting those endpoints in the business, I'm getting my bonus, I'm being talked about per promotion, and I'm getting my pay raises, right? All of the rewards that we want to see coming to us for our efforts of putting together a really good brand, that's what's happening in that third P, in that performance phase, all right? Once we start performing and we see the fruits of our labor, we finally move to the fourth P, which is permission. And it's not permission from everybody else, it's permission from ourselves. It's personal permission. Until we feel like we are safely and appropriately performing or executing correctly in our new executive seat, we will not stop sacrificing. We will not stop doing whatever it takes to be successful in our careers. It is a must for us. It is part of our identities, and it is required for us to be successful, okay? Not until we're performing will we give ourselves personal permission. It's just a fact. It's just how our brains are working and wired because we're high achievers. It's just a part of who we are. So if you are wanting to live the life of your dream, my question to you is, it sounds like you are not giving yourself personal permission to live. It means you haven't reached that fourth P. So you have two ways to do that. Number one, you can be performing. And maybe you're already performing and you just need to recognize that you are and give yourself some grace and allow the permission to come. Okay? The other situation is you're not performing, right? And you need to start performing so you can give yourself permission. In which case, you've got to go into that preparation phase and you've got to create your executive brand. Okay? You've got to prepare. You've got to have the brand in place. You've got to understand how to exec correctly. You've got to master those executive leadership skills so that you can generate the performance so that you can give yourself permission. Okay? So again, let me break it down. The performance umbrella is either I am performing and I need to give myself permission, I'm just not, or I'm not performing, I better create my brand so I can perform and then give myself permission. The other pathway, the other option is just simply recognizing that this is what you're doing to yourself and that your personal permission, your personal freedom, the ability to enjoy your life shouldn't necessarily hinge on the achievements that you have professionally. And you can release yourself from that mindset and say, I'm going to focus on performing. I'm fine, but I'm not going to wait to live. I'm not going to wait to give myself permission. I'm doing it now, and I'm going to go live and enjoy and have my life. And you just simply need to understand, where are you on that journey? Where are you mentally? What are you willing to do and not willing to do? And then take the proper steps. Give yourself permission because you're already there. Build your brand, perform so that you can give yourself permission. Or de-link performance and permission completely in your brain and allow yourself to do both independently. The choice is yours.